Tonu ka mihi atu ki a koutou miki ki a tātou I tēnei wā nō reira tēnā rā koutou. Ka atoa. Just very briefly standing to introduce our next speaker. Yesterday, when I was welcoming people, I mentioned how Ahakoa Heiti, although this is a fairly small group, the lineup of speakers is world class. We have some incredibly heavy hitters amongst us, both nationally and internationally. I just want to acknowledge that, and all of the people who worked to make this happen. It's not an easy thing to get people of such calibre to this part of the world. Oscar Temaru was born in the district of Wha on Tahiti, I won't say when, of a Tahitian father and Kukalan mother. He grew up in Wha in Papet, where he attended Catholic secondary school. During school holidays, he used to visit his maternal relatives here in New Zealand and worked in Auckland. He was in the Navy for a while, for 3 years in the French Navy, during which time he was deployed to fight in the Algerian War, which left a lasting impression on him. Oscar founded the pro-independence and anti-nuclear political party, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that in French, Polynesian Liberation Front in English, in 1977. The party's name was changed to Tawini Huiratira no Te Ao Maohi, serving the people of Te Ao Maohi, or Te Ao Māori, in 1983, the year in which Temaru was elected mayor of the city of a position held ever since. In the territorial elections of May 2004, Tawini Huiratira formed an alliance with smaller opposition parties, collectively styled the Union for Democracy, and Temaru Oscar became Gaston Flossi's successor as President of French Polynesia. In preparation for this introduction, I Googled famous people from French Polynesia. You're it. You and Marlon Brando's third wife. I jest. Peace is a wonderful thing, and it's what we're all here to talk about and discuss. However, often it comes through struggle and fighting for what is right. Oscar has spent his life doing that, fighting for his people and for independence, fighting against the French government. And we know firsthand the lengths they will go to get rid of people they don't like or agree with. So it's a huge privilege and an honour to welcome Oscar to speak to Kōrero with us this morning. Kia ora, Oscar.
Kia ora. As I have the privilege to open this meeting this morning, I'd like to say may the Spirit of the Almighty God be with us all day long. Ia tura te tata I te aia, te me tua I whanau I ana. Which means we have to be proud of our motherland, because she is our mother. She is the one who delivered us. Ia tura te tata I te aia, te me tua I whanau I ana. Te whenua tapu, o te hina tapu, the sacred land for the generation, future generation, till the 5th generation. Because you have the mo'otua, a hina rere, hina tapu. That's why we stand up and fight for them, for our land, since the beginning. The song said, it's a long way to Tipperary. Fighting against this superpower like France. Don't ask me, did you have anything, have you been this? We've been through all that. Even tried to kill physically, and we started more than 40 years ago. She's 38, my daughter Temaru. She accompanied me for the first time. Where are we now? From the beginning, we knew that we needed the support of the international community. So in 1978, she was not born yet, we organized our first trip to New York with our brothers from New Caledonia, the FLNKS. And from that time, they have tried to stop me and put me in jail, 1978. They didn't succeed. I passed through and went to New York. And that's where I knew, even the brothers from New Caledonia, that our two countries were on the list till 1946 and been removed by de Gaulle. You know, have you heard about the famous General de Gaulle? In 1947, de Gaulle is the hero of the French people, maybe of the European people. He's the man who freed France from the German occupation. But to us, de Gaulle is a criminal, because he is the man who decided, after the independence of Algeria in 1972, July, to our backyard, Mururoa and Whangatauwha. People ask me, were there some people living on that atoll before the nuclear testing? Yes. Our brothers from the Temaru Island, they used to move from island to island to make copra, to live on fishing and pearl diving, Mururoa, Whangatauwha, all those places. It was a unilateral decision by this man. He talked for the first time to one of our representatives from Tahiti, whose name is Mr. Drolet. He went to Paris, and for the first time in 2006, I was at the helm of our country. A television came from Paris to Tahiti to know the truth, what happened that year between de Gaulle and this guy. And he said, for the first time, de Gaulle told me, you accept the French nuclear testing in your country, otherwise your country will be ruled by the military. That's it. So they came around. We didn't know anything about nuclear testing, radioactive fallout, and all that. No, nothing. They started the infrastructure, airport equipment, and wharf. Huge amount of money was invested in Mururoa and Whangatauwha. When I see You know, the yellow vest protesting in France. I want to tell them your money. Why France is poor now? Because all the money has been used for that nuclear testing. Nuclear weapons cannot be used by any country, otherwise it would be the end of this war. I've been to Temaru the first time in 1964. It was like all the other atolls, a beautiful place for fishing. Then I made some other trips there. In 1976, that was the first time I've seen signs all over in the lagoon amongst the coconut trees, and coconut trees becoming, the leaves become yellow. I said, oh, what happened? That was the first time to see that. It's written in French, zone très contaminée, very contaminated zone, area. Fishing is forbidden. Don't drink coconut water anymore. How can you stop a Tahitian, Polynesian to go fishing, eat fish, and drink coconut water? They just don't care. They don't understand that. That's what happened. And that was the first time I lost some of my friends. At the beginning, we wondered if it was poisoned by the fish. No, it started to scratch up, and they've been sent to Paris and sent back to Tahiti in coffin. That's it. And till now, no one is able to tell us how many people have died as a consequences of the French nuclear testing, and how many people in the future will die as a consequences of the French nuclear testing. Who is responsible for that? You know, in 2017, Macron was a candidate for the French presidential election. I was also candidate, but I couldn't make it. That's another story. He was in Algeria, meeting with the President Bouteflika, and he made a statement there saying colonization is a crime against humanity. That was February 2017. He made it once, just once. When he came back to Paris, he was... So, when we first succeeded to get our country back on the list at the United Nations in 2013, 17th of May, it was a great day for our struggle, because we started in 1978, 35 years of traveling, meetings, sacrifice, even the family, the kids with the mom. I'm very lucky I have a brave mom at home, looking after our 6 kids, 3 boys, 3 girls, till now, till today. That resolution was asking France to start the process of decolonization, which means they have to start to change the rules, different rules, start to get out of our country. You know, we have about 600 doctors in my country. Maybe 12 or 15 Tahitian doctors. We have about 100 lawyers, maybe 9 or 10 Tahitian lawyers. And it's like that in the whole administration, professors and all that. Now, our kids are starting to come back to Tahiti. They've been to France, to Paris, doctor. No place in Tahiti. It's occupied by all those French guys. Please, I know the difference between the state, the French government. I'm talking about the French government, not the French people. We have a lot of friends in France. They're just like us, and they support us, the French people. But the French government, that is something else. That is the situation in our country. France is pouring a lot of money in our country. Cannot imagine. A lot of people were telling me when we started our fight against the French nuclear testing, well, if you stop nuclear testing, France will go. And this country has nothing. It will be nothing without France. I said, well, I am sure of the contrary. They will stay here in our Pacific Ocean, and especially in Tahiti. Tahiti, when we talk about Tahiti, French-occupied Polynesia, looks like a small place, small island. It is a huge ocean state, huge, as big as Europe, 5 million square kilometers. And 5 million square kilometers with all the resources for the future. The problem is our people themselves. They are very close, those in the government, very close to the French. When we won the election in 2004, it was a big surprise. There was a statement from France, from the Minister of Overseas, saying, the election in Tahiti is not over. I said, well, maybe they are recounting. No, they didn't want me to be the president of this country. And another statement came after. We will lock the tap. You see the meaning? The meaning? Which means you will have no more water. So I said, please lock it. It will still rain. We will still have water. From 2004 to 2011, it's unique in our history. Our government has been overthrown 5 different times. by the colonial power of France, country of democracy. So, kept trying to find out ways, from the beginning, when I saw all the victims and think about the future, said there could be justice somewhere. So last year, yes, October last year, we have a whole file, put it in front of the International Criminal Court of Justice in La Hague. It is there. That made France really mad. When I went back to Tahiti just a month after, very quick decision was taken by the French government to remove me from our parliament. So now I'm not a member of the parliament anymore. Now they're trying to remove me as a mayor of the biggest city in population-wise of far. That's the new strategy of France. Maybe from my trip here, I will go straight to jail. I don't know, they're waiting for me. Just to tell you, I am very hopeful because when we started, it was a very small group of people. With all of us together, we can do a lot. That's why I want to say thank you to the National Center for Peace and Conflict Studies, University of Otago, for this invitation. It is an honor for me and my daughter Tewa to be here this morning to talk to you. Thank you so much. If you have questions, or let's have. Thank you.
What is the result of the case in the International Criminal Court you mentioned?
Still ongoing.
Thank you very much for your auditor today and for coming to talk to us. It's very, it means a lot. It means a lot to us. My question is, how many native Tahitians are supporting this independence movement in Tahiti itself, and do you have other groups and other countries who are supporting you?
It's a very hard question to know exactly. You know, our opponent used to, from 2015, the French using them as puppet, excuse me for that word, to talk about on behalf of the French government. And they used to say, we're not the majority in Tahiti. We are the minority. They are the majority. They represent us. We're asking to the French government to organize a referendum like they did in New Caledonia. That's the only way to know exactly where is the people, the Maori people. I am sure the majority will say yes. Why I say that? The local election for mayors, or other elections, any people can vote. I'm talking about French people arriving in Tahiti after 3 months. They can vote. Any European, after 6 months, they can vote. Then we ask him to apply the international rule, which means only people after 10 years in Tahiti can vote. That would be different. And also for the education of our people. It's really another election. That's the idea I want to ask you to widespread it, organize a referendum in Tahiti. They don't want to. It's a very democratic process, isn't it? That's my response to this. Organize, give us time to explain to our young people. They will understand, I'm sure, very quickly. That will be that's why I tried to be a candidate at the last French presidential election, you know, to win the election in our country, not to be the president of France, I don't. But to be able to do that, you need the support of 500 elected people from France. So I've been to France, touring France before the election, asking their support with my husband, with a brother son. He's a member in the French Parliament. And they all say yes, 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 yes. But when we made our first interview in France, in Paris, when I said the goal was a criminal, they all refused to support me. So that's what we are asking now to the French government, organize, because it costs a lot of money. It's a huge country. We cannot organize ourselves a referendum, even the local government. It's always organized by the state. Every election.
Since no one else is asking questions, I've got a lot of questions. Look, I want to ask you a personal question. In all your years of struggle, what has sustained your spirit in the struggle?
Te whenua tapu, te hina tapu. That's it.
And now just one last question. It's lovely that you brought your lovely daughter with you. Are there other young people in Tahiti who are going to carry on, pick up that torch and carry that torch that you've carried for so long?
Oh yes, oh yes. I don't know how many of them, but on our last trip, on their last trip to New York, October last year, there were some very, let's say, huge declaration from some young people of our delegation, young people, about the French nuclear testing and the future of our country. And you can see now they are moving, joining the party. But we have to get organized. Yes, that's the situation now in Tahiti. Maybe you can have it on Facebook. Yes. It was declaration from Hinamoy, Cross, and two others very young people. Strong statement.
So when you reached the ICC or to where was the statement made? At the full committee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm just wondering what you think about the example of the Catalans in Spain, in Barcelona, that organized their own referendum in disobedience to Madrid. Is that something you could do yourself? Or could you say something more about the type of assistance people are doing?
When this happened, we were in New York. It was 2000, maybe 3 years ago or 5 years ago, when the Catalan passed through the election and the majority voted for the independence of Catalonia. We were in New York with the delegation of New Caledonia. We both signed a letter of support, the leader of the FNKS and myself, for the independence and for the right of self-determination of the Catalan people. So we are watching what is happening now. But it is a possibility, but we cannot organize that kind of election in our huge country. And our program for the future, let's talk a little bit about the future. We like our country to be organized as federated states. We have 5 different archipelagos. To fly from Tahiti to the Marquesas Island takes nearly 3 hours by plane. It's a big country. And the south, the Austral Islands, where my brother Ruru is from Rimotara, Dr. Ruru, and the Leeward Islands and Temaru Island in 5 different federated states. Because now all is organized in Papeete. All those islands, representatives from, they all have to come to Tahiti and go back to them. It's a colonial stuff to control everything. And Papeete, that's the place of, well, the representative of the French government is High Commissioner. Before 1977, used to be a governor, and now it's a high commissioner, but still have the same power. It's a very strong man, French High Commissioner. When I was elected as a mayor of Hawaii in 1983, it was a big surprise. We were invited by the French High Commissioner for a dinner party. I'd never been to that place. I said to our colleagues, yes, let's go. This invitation for dinner for the first time. So when we been in that room, he was surrounded by French admiral, colonels, generals, all the representatives of the French administration in Tahiti. Oh, congratulations for your election, Mr. Mayor. You know, all those guys around me, they are ready to help you anytime. You just ask what you want, and you will get it. The only thing I ask you, we want this country to be French forever. I shook his hand I said, thank you for your invitation, and went back to far. That's the way. Just maybe a couple of years ago, I had the French colonel of French gendarme. He came to my office, accompanied with captain, lieutenant, and to ask me to sign a convention between our municipal police and the French gendarme. Just a convention, you sign it and I will put it somewhere. Because you're the only one who didn't sign it. All the other mayors of French-occupied Polynesia have signed it. So we can work better with your police and the French police. I said, well, I am just astonished. Because everything is going well. When we need you, we call you up, you come. When you need us, you call us, we come. I don't want our policemen to be under the feet of your gendarme. I won't sign it. Oh, you know, we are here also to protect the airport of Far. So that is one of our mission. So I told him, have you been around the Pacific? Have you been to the Cook Islands? Have you been to Fiji? Have you been to Tonga? There's no French gendarmerie. No. And our people will decide to take his destiny in his hand. We shake hands and you go back to your country. That's it. We can do your job. Just to tell you the atmosphere of our life in Tahiti. Yes?
Oscar, when we were speaking earlier, you said that colonization is a form of modern slavery. Can you please explain and elaborate on that?
Yes. Colonization. For most of the people of Tahiti, what I did was against France for the victims, you know, the consequences of the French nuclear testing. It's more than that. Colonization is also cultural genocide. When we started more than 40 years ago, we were scared about our kids in the future. They will not speak our language anymore. They will forget who they are. That is the case now, today. And let's say all our political leaders are in the pocket of the French government. How you call it? The right word is cryptical political organization. Is that the right word? Yes, that's why I say it's a modern slavery. And it's in the brain of our people. Because the media is controlled by the French. Everything is in French. You have 15 minutes in Tahitian on TV. That's it. Even in the church, they started now to speak French instead of speaking Tahitian. Only the Protestant church is still teaching our language, our culture to our people. We have to change all that. I told you from 2013, the processes of decolonization should start. France don't want to accept. They want to remove us from that list. Yes.
Do you have any hope that the United Nations ostensible commitment to decolonisation will have any effect?
Well, what I can tell you, for the first time last year, we have a small delegation from the foreign countries of the Pacific. They came to Tahiti to control the day of the election. And they made a report saying, oh, everything was well, but the system is anti-democratic. Why? Because the group who wins the election, the majority, has 17 or 19 seats as bonus. So that's the organization of the election in our country. If we go like one vote, one seat, it would be different. Because years before, there have been changing in the government all the time, and so that's why they decided now there's this new law. It was set up to block us going forward, because mathematically we can understand what they were looking for. Just to, yes.
Thank you. The question that's in my mind is why France is so insistent on holding on to its Polynesian territory. We know that Mururoa and Whanataupa are going to collapse, which will be a disaster for the Pacific. I mean, it will always be France's responsibility, right? But is it because of economic exploitation, because Polynesia is a source of conscripts, because France still has compulsory military conscription for the French army, for the French military? Why is France so insistent on holding on to Polynesia?
When you talk about French-occupied Polynesia, you also have to keep in mind New Caledonia.
They see them together.
Oh yes, you know, without those two countries, France is nothing. Only French Polynesia represents 5 million square kilometers, as big as Europe. And you have New Caledonia with nickels and all that. They don't want to get rid of those two colonies. No. And Wallis and Futuna.
Kia ora. I think, like everyone else here, I feel very honored to be in the same room as you. And I'm with many others in this room. I was part of the New Zealand peace movement from the 1980s on, where we worked for a free and independent Pacific. It wasn't just anti-nuclear. And my question is, what would you hope to get from Aotearoa, New Zealand, from its government, and what sort of support would you like to get from us today?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. We used to have support from New Zealand and Australia all those years against the demonstration against nuclear testing and the process of our right to self-determination and all that. But just a few years ago, Helen Clark was the Prime Minister. I know her well. Say hello to Helen. And her Minister of Foreign Affairs was Mr. Macaulay. we had a forum meeting here in Auckland, and I have noticed a change of the strategy of New Zealand and even Australia. They are supporting France, the French presence in the Pacific. So I asked him, how come? And he said, you know what? France has a lot of resources in the Pacific, in New Caledonia and in your country. So I told him, I know we have resources in our seabed ocean, in our country, in New Caledonia. But doesn't belong to the French. Belongs to our hinatapu, to our children. That's a strange situation. But I can also tell you, I can see, having been around for nearly 50 years, I met all those leaders like Muldoon, the leaders of Fiji, leaders of Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea. They were really meeting, talking about the people, the situation of the country, human problems, human beings. The difference now with the new leaders, they're all talking about business. That is the difference between the former leaders and the new leaders of the Pacific. Some of them, they didn't know anything about our struggle, the fight against the French nuclear testing, the fight of the Kanak people in New Caledonia. No, we have to always give them information of the past. So we need the support. Your support will be strong. And through media, I'm very hopeful, the people of we need the support of the Pacific people. You know, in one of the meetings that was in Tonga, I think, I talked to the former Prime Minister of Australia, Howard Hughes. I told him, why are you so reluctant about people from the Pacific going to Australia? Australia is a huge, big country. And we should have in this Pacific Ocean, Pacific people passport, so we can travel all over, like our Tupuna used to do. I said, no, we have to control who will come and live next door to. That's a pop-out way of thinking, seeing things. Kia ora.
Kia ora. On that same topic, is the influence of China very noticeable in your experience? The influence of China in French occupied Polynesia?
That's a very big issue of discussion. There was a colloquium in our university in Tahiti. They have invited people from New Zealand, from China, talking about the new Silk Road and about the Chinese community in Tahiti and all that. You have two different ideas now. Xi Jinping saying one China policy and building this huge market all around the world. I met him while he was the vice president of China. When he came to Tahiti, I was at the helm. And we talked about it. And he said, we need you. We need to have cooperation of the whole world. We know your problem. Altogether, you're around 300,000 people to feed. I have 1 million, nearly soon 1,500,000,000 people to feed every day. So that's why we need Africa. We need to cooperation. That's what he told me. And on the other side, you have Donald Trump saying, make America great again. America first. That's the ideal would be one world, one planet. We only have this planet to live on. There are some people dreaming about going to Mars. No, this is our planet. Work together. And I hope there will be a new president for the United States next year.
That's probably a really positive note to finish on. One more last question. Go on.
I'd like to give my question to this lady here.
Thanks. It was already answered, because what I really enjoyed what you said is that you continue to stay hopeful in spite of all the struggle. And you already talked a little bit on it, but if you could elaborate a little bit more, maybe also regarding the next generation and the generation after that, what helps you to remain hopeful for the future?
I already told you the Whenua Tapu, the Hina Tapu, the sacred land, and the fifth generation, the future. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
I think that what's keeping him hopeful is just the smile of his two grandchildren.
That's very true. Thank you.
So good. Just as we finish off, just once again, I want to thank you for gracing us with your presence, and just on behalf of all of us, acknowledge and honouring your work and your passion. Firstly, on behalf of your people from Tahiti, but also on behalf of all of us as Indigenous people, because our struggle is similar, it's the same thing. And it's all about, as you absolutely beautifully said, Whenua Tapu and Rewhai. So as a small token of our appreciation, we'd like to just give you a taonga, something very unique to this part of the world. And we have one for your kōkero too.
Ki
Dhamma